Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am jeffgrantMEDIA, and today's unboxing and first impressions video, I've got this package here from Australia that I am incredibly excited to open up. This thing's been stuck in customs for days. It arrived in Philadelphia this morning and made its way 2 hours north to my hands in the same day. Oh, it's taking everything I have to not tear this thing open right now. But a little backstory before we crack it open. From the title of this video, you do know that what is inside this bag is a prototype sample sent by Alpha Oneniner to Dave to check out for the production run of the collab between Alpha Oneniner and BO Gear of the Spare Camel. Now, what started out as a half-assed joke to Dave on Instagram saying, hey, what are you going to do with all those samples that Hemley sent you? Thinking about sending one back to the US. He said that he had gifted them to a very special friend of his. But if I was genuinely interested, he would reach out to said friend and see if they might be interested in selling me a spare camel. And I said, you know what? Sure, I'll haggle with the chap a little bit. And lo and behold, I get an Instagram message from who other than Nate, the owner of the Perfect Pack, whom I also write for. He was the very special friend that Dave gifted the samples to. And lo and behold, we struck a deal. And I got a bag inside a bag from Australia. So I have a prototype of the Spare Camel A19 BO Gear collab. Now, this is going to look more like an OG Spare Camel than the actual production. Let's crack it open, see what it is, and then I'll tell you, if you can't already tell, the blatant differences between this prototype and the actual collab that has not dropped yet. So, without further ado, I can't wait. We're going to crack this thing open right now. Oh man. Ooh, right off the bat, you could tell that the material is different than the collab bag. And I can already, besides the Olight, Nate said he was going to include a few extras that he had lying around. I can already feel there's something right here in the top pocket. But man, so this is a Cordura. I believe by the feel of it, this is definitely 500D, whereas the production collab is going to be a 500D face X50 back. So this already is different because this is not the X50, this is a straight up Cordura. So true BO Gear Spare Camel, the bullpup, is the little brother to this. We have our OG webbing, which we have the 5 rows of PALS webbing with the bar tacking. This is OG. The collab will have laser cut webbing on the front of it, or laser cut PALS as opposed to actual webbing. I prefer this. I like this look. I like the OG look. I like the webbing over laser cut. And personally, I find laser cut to be less useful than webbing, because if you're trying to clip like a carabiner to it, I find the laser cutting is harder to feed the carabiner through, and then it's not as wide, so it tends to like pinch it down, and aesthetically, I don't like the way that looks when there's like a carabiner clipped on. As far as attaching pouches and whatnot, it's completely the same thing. You actually probably have more options with the laser cut, but I generally strap a carabiner to the outside of my packs, and I find that the laser cutting, it doesn't work nearly as well as webbing. So I like this OG webbing as opposed to the laser cut. Now we have our 2 pouches. Oh, we do have a nylon liner here. The OGs, there is a nylon liner, but I believe there is recycled billboards in between the layers of the liner and the outside, and the OGs that were a waterproofing layer that was inserted into the bag. This does not feel like it has a recycle. It definitely does not have that extra layer. I can feel there's the Cordura and then the nylon liner. There is no liner in between, but that's okay. I'm also noticing the zipper pulls are different. They're actual pulls instead of the metal zipper tabs. Then we have our second usable pocket. Ooh, and we have, since Nathan is the owner of the Perfect Pack, he actually included a Perfect Pack sticker. And then we have our second pocket here. So we have 2 external pockets on the Spare Camel. This is the same as the OG as well as the long morale patch here. So we have our 2 pockets. And I should add that I am a big GoRuck fan, and the bag does look very similar to a GR1, but the front pocket on a GR1 is not super usable. I generally keep flat items in there. I have like a little travel thing that I can throw like a tablet, a pen in, or I throw like my gloves in there and my rucker, but generally you can't keep anything bulky in there. But I find that the Spare Camel, both of these front pockets are completely usable. They don't have a ton of dimension, but they do actually have a little bit more of their own dimension to them, so you can actually stuff larger, bulkier items in both of these pockets. Flipping the bag over here, you can see we have 2 nice S-curved straps, and we have a, oops, let's pop the sternum strap open. We have a nice padded air mesh back panel that's got some nice grooves here that's going to keep the bag up and away from your back. And there are loops here that you could add a hip belt on. I don't know if this one has a hip belt or not. Maybe it's inside the bag. I haven't opened it up yet, so we will get there when we get there, but generally I don't wear hip belts, so I like that the option's there. I don't need it. I do have an OG BO Gear hip belt for my Spare Camel, but that went through a channel on the back of the back padding. There was a channel that you would feed the hip belt through. It didn't clip on the sides. It fed through and fed out. So I do have an OG one that I've used a couple times on some longer hikes, because yes, my OG Spare Camel I did actually hike with quite a bit when I first got the bag. But back to the Proto. We have, should be, okay, this one's not a full clamshell. I believe the full production version, it's going to be a full clamshell, and there's also going to be a magnetic closure for the laptop pad, and there's going to be a bit more of an admin panel here on the front of it, where this is not a full clamshell. It's only a half zip of it, but there is actually dimension in between, and yes, the laptop sleeve is floating by quite a bit, at least 2 inches. Laptop is floating at least 2 inches from the bottom, and then this, oh, if I can get it right, yeah, this front pocket here, which I could stick my tablet in, is also floating, and then this one, yeah, these 2 pockets here are also floating. A little bit of Alpha Oneniner branding right here, but again, the production will be a full clamshell, where you can see this is only a half zip for the laptop compartment, and it does not have the admin panel on the front, or what I believe is going to be the magnetic snap closure to hold the laptop in place when you unzip this completely. But we have a dedicated laptop area that we did not have on the OG Spare Camel. I would keep my laptop on the inside of the bag, inside the water bladder sleeve. I actually took a top-loading laptop sleeve, just left the top unzipped, and just left that directly inside the water bladder sleeve, and I would just pull my laptop in and out there. Worked completely fine, but now we have our own dedicated laptop sleeve, which is awesome. That is one of the things I was most excited about on the collab, was having that laptop sleeve. Oh, and I should also add, there are load lifters on the collab, where there were not load lifters on the OG bag. Now, let's see the inside and see what's, ooh, there's a couple things in here. See what Nathan threw in here, some surprises. Ready, folks? Ooh, he tossed in an Alpha Oneniner back panel. This can actually clip in to the attachment points here, so I can actually clip that in. And this is all PALS, so I can put things, I can put pouches and stuff on the inside. It's also loop side, so I can put like Velcro, I can put patches on here. Anything with the hook side, I could attach this. And then we also have the back side, which I believe would maybe Velcro into one of the A19 packs. And then here you can actually see, set this down, this is the water bladder sleeve that was on the traditional OG BO Gear Spare Camels. This is where I would slide in a laptop sleeve and just feed my laptop in and out through the top. And I used the water bladder sleeve as my laptop sleeve. And then we also have the 3 hooks so we can actually hang a multitude of water bladders. Now there is no port, there's no output port here. I believe the OG also did not have a port. I would just feed it out through my zipper, but I'm not a big water bladder fan. Just the feel of it sloshed on your back, it throws the weight of the bag off. I will use them on some certain hikes. My Grand Canyon setup was a water bladder in my backpack and then a water bottle strapped to my hip. And the water bottle on my hip is where I would keep my electrolytes, because I'd carry powder electrolytes. And then when I stopped at the stations that had water, I would refill both my bladder and my electrolyte container. But that's the primary use for me for water bladders. I find that eventually they bust and they leak, and it's just messy, and I don't like that. But that's where I would keep my laptop in the OG. Now, we do have our traditional 3 pockets that we had on the inside of the OG. We have this top one that we have a surprise in. We have 2 O-lights, which is great because these are the little guys, and I can actually probably clip one of these to one of the zipper pulls on either the inside or the outside. I actually have a couple little ones. I think I recently lost one. I had one on my Bullet and one on my GR1. I believe I still have one on my Bullet. One of my GR1 is gone, but they're just cheap ones, but they actually come in very handy. So these are awesome. So Nate, thank you very, very much. This top pocket here, it seems small, like you're not gonna be able to use it for much, but this was incredibly useful for me. This was like my quick stash pocket. I would just unzip the top of the bag, reach in here. This is where I would keep some pens and stuff. I did keep like Sharpies and a pen on the outside in the webbing, but when I would inevitably lose the pen that was strapped to the outside of the bag, I would keep an extra one in here, and this would be a quick access, quick wrap pocket. So I found this top little pocket to be incredibly useful. Now, going into our middle pocket here, we have more O-light goodies. We have the O-light multi-tool, 2 of the O-light multi-tools, which also seem awesome. Nathan, thank you very, very much. Really stoked for the goodies too. Everything is amazing. I'm trying to contain how excited I am. I got some goodies. I got a bag that I really, really wanted. And I'm just trying to not lose my shit right now, because this is one of the bags I have been most excited for in a long time. There's 2 packs that I was incredibly excited for. This one is one of them, and this was the bag I was most excited and most anticipating. And honestly, I'll get into more, but I like this better than the production version of the bag. I'll get into that a little bit more. I touched on it a little bit with the blazer cut, but I'll get into that a little bit more. Back to the organization, we also have our bottom pocket. In the middle and bottom are pleated, so they actually expand, and you can fit a lot of stuff in here. These are really, really great for organization. Now, 2 things I'm noticing from the OG. There is an extra D-ring here that you can hang stuff off of. It's hard to see in the black on black, but there's an extra D-ring here, so you can hang a little something extra there. And on the OG, somewhere in here, there was a hidden pocket. It is not on this pack here, but I know where it is, and it's not here. So the hidden pocket is gone. Also, all of these extra loops on the side are new, where you could attach an accessory that goes inside the bag, and they just all attach in just like that. And then you can have all additional accessories either strapped through the webbing, or you can hook anything pouch-wise that has Velcro right to the back of this and organize it. Why am I more excited for this prototype than the actual production collab? Well, personally, I said this in a recent video that I actually am finding I prefer Cordura over some of these technical fabrics. Now, as far as the technical fabrics do go, I am finding I prefer the EPX, both the 400 and the 600, better than the X-Pack. I find it to be a little bit softer, nicer to the touch, and it doesn't sound as crinkly to me. Now, I like the EPX 600 that the new Alpha 31 for remote equipment came with, because that looks more like Cordura. Now, the production versions of these are a 500D faced X50 back, but when you flip it open, you can still see that check on it. Now, personally, I would have liked a 1000D shell on this if I was building this, having this built for me, but because this was a prototype, the 500D is just, it's softer, it's easier to work with, and it's also cheaper, so they make the prototype out of the 500D, which is fine, completely fine. It's Cordura, which I like the Cordura over the more technical fabrics. Now, I also like the webbing over the laser cut. I just think this looks cooler personally, aesthetic wise. I like the look of it better. I also find that the webbing is more functional than the laser cut. So I prefer that this bag has the webbing. I prefer the material, the construction of the bag better over the production because I prefer an EPX material over a VX material. So the fact that this is neither of them and it's my favorite fabric for a backpack, it makes me a little happier. The one thing that I kind of wish this had that the production does is the admin panel here on the front of it, which just gives you a little bit more organization to the pack. But this is a prototype that nobody else is going to be able to get their paws on, so I'm incredibly excited, and I feel incredibly lucky to have this bag right now. This is just like the bag that I was dreaming of when they announced the Alpha Oneniner BO Gear collab. So this is more what I was picturing in my mind when the bag was coming out, although I pretty much figured it was going to come in either a VX or an EPX fabric, which it is, but I much prefer the Cordura. I'm so excited. I love this pack. This pack is awesome. It's going to fit in amazing with my OG Spare Camel and my Syndrome. Now, in case you are unaware, my two favorite backpacks of all time, so my two personal unicorn backpacks, are my BO Gear Syndrome, which was my first BO Gear bag. It is the messenger bag, but because I hurt my shoulder, I can't really carry messenger bags, these larger messenger bags, for more than probably like 20-30 minutes. And if I do it excessively day after day, even if it's not that far, it bothers my shoulder. So I also have my BO Gear Spare Camel, which is my OG bag, and those are my two all-time favorite packs. Out of all the bags that I own, all the bags that I've ever owned, those are my two all-time favorite bags, are my BO Gear packs. And now I have something that's a little special that I can add to the collection, because this is another one. Those two are lifers. This is going to be a lifer pack, and again, this is a bag that you can't get. So I'm doing a review of a bag that you'll never be able to purchase, but I also did a review of my BO Gear Spare Camel that you could get a Spare Camel. You can find them. They're really expensive. They're kind of hard to find. You just got to be at the right place at the right time, but you can kind of get them, but they will never be made again unless you go and get the Alpha Oneniner BO Gear collab that I believe is dropping in a week. I think next week that bag's going to drop, or at least the pre-orders of that bag is going to go out. But I'm unfortunately going to have to pass on the actual collab because all the money I saved for the collab I spent on the prototype. And as you can see, shipping wasn't cheap to get this bag here from Australia. Now that is an AUD, but it was still quite a bit of money in USD to get this bag sent to me. But it was completely worth it. This bag is going to be treasured. This bag is going to be used, and I'm going on a little long extended weekend with the family in about a week and a half. This bag is coming with me. So this bag is going to get tossed into rotation probably next week. I got a bag I gotta wrap up. Probably gonna cut it just a little bit short to get this bag in because I can't wait. I cannot wait to use this pack. So excited. So Dave, if you see this, thank you for taking my half-assed joke and facilitating one of the best purchases ever for me. And Nathan, thank you for agreeing to sell me the bag and then shipping me the bag from Australia to America. I am so stoked. And also, thank you for my additional Olight gifts and the Alpha Oneniner accessory and the inside of the bag. Everything is greatly appreciated. I am very excited. I'm stoked. I'm just super stoked in this bag. So if you like this video or my other videos, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications next time I post a brand new video. Good night. You may have noticed my co-host, now calling herself Hazel Fantastic, is absent tonight. That's because she decided to stay at her Grammys, so she missed an unboxing video.